What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another new OT Universe. What if? This is not gonna be like a religion one or anything. So don't like take this out of context of saying, oh wow, this is how you really take religion and God and stuff. No, it's not. It's just a what if. So don't put religion in this or anything. I might take some tiny bit religion like angels and something like that, but and demons and stuff. But other than that, it's completely not religion. So yeah, it's not going to be a religion video, but this is going to be like, what if Naruto was God? Uh, I know what y'all guys saying, like, oh well, this is sounding like a little bit like religion. No, it's not, because I got copyright the last time. But this is going to be a maybe 18 plus, maybe 18 plus. It's not going to be 86 in it. I'm not going to put in detail into this, so I'm going to go in the first ever what if without any details. But this will be an 18. Yeah, just an 18. But yeah, this is gonna be what if Naruto was God. So how would this happen? How would Naruto be God, and how would this basically work? Well, we're basically gonna start off with pretty much, well, God. So basically, God is constantly, well, doing the cycle of war again, and the Sage of Six Path is basically, you could say, powerful, that created the Earth and stuff, but we're just gonna say God had a little bit helping hand, as he created him, and then basically he let him do the ninja world. But basically, this is where God basically is having a war with his son Lucifer, and Lucifer is basically having a war with him and stuff. And this is where Lucifer is saying, "I just don't get why you allow these humans to come off the earth and basically give them, let them into heaven and basically give them mercy and stuff and all that." Which this is where God is basically does the same thing and basically bears his son, but he shares a chair. This is where I guess God, well, we're gonna say a million has happened, and this is before the Nine Tails attack happened, and this is where he basically wants to go down to Earth again, or you could say basically put himself down to Earth again. Now, this is where he's looking for a superhost, and this is where he thinks he's going to basically, well, remake himself and stuff, and he's going to do whatever he wants this time, as he's not going to put boundaries or anything. He's going to do whatever he wants. So this is the God who basically wants to go down to Earth and basically do whatever he wants, or just do whatever. Now this is where he basically gets Kushina pregnant, as we're just gonna say he plant the seed in her, not doing her or anything, but just basically touching that stomach and making it happen. Now this is where Kushina gets pregnant while Minato didn't up the knock yet, but you know he's not gonna question it. well, they did do it, but yeah, let's just continue. Basically, he thinks that's his kid. This is where, well, you could say everything happens the same, but this is where Naruto gets, born. Now, Naruto will be having white hair and white eyebrows, and he will have a unique glow to his eyes, as his eyes will be white as uniqueness. Now, this is where the original happens, and Obito attacks. But this is where, well, we're going to say pretty much Naruto, he pretty much opens up his eyes, and pretty much everybody get blinded by the light, including Minato. And Minato reopens up his eyes again, and he realized that he's in, you could say, the ally, or you could say he's in the, well, how far should we be? Actually, yeah, let's make him very far. He's at all the way at the Samurai Nation, you could say, not the Ninja Nation, at the Samurai Nation now. And he's looking around saying, "How did he get here?" And he's in confusion. He doesn't even know how he got there. But this is where Minato and Kushina. This is where Minato is confused of where did the Masked Man go, and and uh and pretty much there Kushina also is confused too. And this is where they look at Naruto, and Naruto doesn't say anything. His eyes are completely closed again, which we're just gonna continue. And this is where we have a 5-year-old Naruto. Now, this 5-year-old Naruto is basically as the same mechanic, but more intelligent. As how can I say, he's more wiser, intelligenter. He's more just better. And since the Nine-Tails attack never happened and Obito never unleashed that, the Nine-Tails Shinchuriki, no one doesn't hate Naruto. Actually, they love him. They actually look up to him. They actually, worship him as a god, you could say. Because he is, you could say, a god. Now, this is where Naruto is, of course, is looked upon the villagers, and they look at him as a god and stuff. This is where Naruto is basically walking until he sees a group of kids bullying Hinata. This is where he's walking to Hinata and stuff. And he pretty much acts what they're doing, which they pretty much say it's none of his business and get the hell out of there. Which this is where Naruto says, well, he doesn't, he's not gonna leave. And I'm going to say Naruto can sense emotions, so he can sense the fear from the kids, and also he can sense, the concern for the kids, because Hinata is a caring person. She is a caring person, and kind of sweet. So this is where Naruto takes another step and says, "If you don't leave her alone, well, this is what he says: If y'all don't leave her alone, I'm gonna make y'all see y'all worst nightmares." Which they pretty much says, "Oh yeah," which this is where one of them touched Naruto's shoulder, and he immediately falls down to the ground, foaming out his mouth. Now, what did Naruto do? Well, he didn't do nothing. Well, he kind of did do something. He, when the kid touched him, he pretty much saw his fate, his future of all the possible fates that he could have did, as him being a killer, as him being a rapist, or as him being a good person, and him dying in multiple different ways. So he pretty much saw his death, and he felt his death. Well, he pretty much experienced his death before they happened. And the other kids gets terrified, they run away. Now, this is where Hinata pretty much, comes to Naruto, basically thanking him and stuff, which Naruto pretty much sees her future. If he doesn't touch her, he can see her future. He sees what she can be, what she could have been, what she's what she was been, and how she was evil, how she was not evil, how she was a psychopath, how she was not, how she was a young dairy, how she was not a young dairy. Basically, he can see everything. This is where Naruto basically, takes her hand and basically gives her a hug, a nice friendly hug, saying she doesn't really have to thank him, and she passes out. But Naruto pretty much just picks her up and takes her back to the Hyuga compound. Which the Hyuga member don't hate Naruto. They more like Naruto. Actually, they want Naruto to become, you could say, the next branch of the Hyuga and marry Hinata. That's how proper Naruto is. That's how people love Naruto, as they want to offer up their daughters for Naruto. Now, this is where Naruto basically heads home. Well, no, this is where Naruto basically, yeah, heads home, and he pretty much is saying, "Hi, Dad, I'm home," which, you know, Minato says, "Oh, hey, son, how was your day?" Which Naruto basically says, "It was good," and stuff, and heads upstairs, which Kushina basically says, "Make sure to come back downstairs and have dinner," which Naruto hardly comes out his room unless, it's dinner time. And Minato is Kushina is a little bit concerned for him. But what Naruto does in the room is not, he really is, you could say, doing many things, as he's creating, how can I say, he's creating stuff. As humans to chakra natures, like he's just broken, you could say. When he's in his room, he does a lot of things and a lot of experimenting. Now, this is where Naruto's in his room, and one of the angels come down, and we're gonna say it's Michael. One of his sons, Michael, and Michael pretty much comes down and pretty much sitting at the window saying, "So, Dad, this is what your idea of basically coming to Earth and looking at this world," which pretty much Naruto, or we're going to say God, pretty much says, yeah, this Earth is actually not bad. They have chakra, which I have this note, which I don't know about, but now I know what chakra and who created it. That old man Sage of the Six Paths, which Naruto knows about him, because, like I said, and he pretty much says that it was also Kaguya too that has something to do with that as well. Well, we're gonna say Kaguya. He knows that Kaguya has something to do with that as well. Now, this is where Naruto is thinking, and This is where he sees the future of what's going to happen, and he pretty much does something out crazy. Which this is where his son Michael asks, "Father, what do you think you're doing?" Which Naruto smiling, saying, "Oh, you know," and he pretty much use the chakra that he has, and he imps it up, and he begins to make a new child. Now, this child is basically Kaguya. Well, you could say Kaguya. Well, no, he makes Kaguya, but as a version of, as you could say, a new Kaguya. As this Kaguya is not corrupted or not evil, but it is Kaguya. This is where Michael says, "Huh? So you made her again?" Which this is where he says, "Well, technically different. You could say." Which this is where, well, we're gonna say a 5-year-old Kaguya. Pretty much, she opens up her eyes and she pretty much sees that, looks around, says, "Creator." Well, she basically says that, which is where Naruto smiles. Now, this is where we do a time skip in. We're gonna have a 5-year-old Naruto. I mean, a 10-year-old Naruto now. Now, this Naruto is basically, ahead of the class. He's ahead in class, ahead of everything, including he's a rival to Sasuke. Now, Sasuke is pretty much, how can I say it? Now, Sasuke is a pretty much look up to Naruto, but also looks at him as a rival, which Naruto knows that he knows that Sasuke looks at him as a rival. So he trains Sasuke. He basically, gives Sasuke, all he got, and basically helps Sasuke get stronger. And Sasuke will be stronger as original in his canon. So yeah, this is where we're going to say this is where Minato is basically given the next position of Hokage to Fugaku. So Fugaku become the next Hokage and Minato will retire. Because why the hell not? And plus, we never see Fugaku become Hokage, but I think Fugaku will become a good Hokage. So I'm making him Fukage, sorry, Hokage in this one. So Minato retire early while Fugaku becomes Hokage. Now, this is where the Uchihas are, happy and, trellis and stuff. Like, this is the dawn of, a new age because the Uchihas are now, getting recognized again and stuff. Now, when Fukaku, is Hokage, he basically did what he was, what he wanted to do. He basically brought back the Uchiha and basically, established thing. Now, some Uchihas did go back, stayed at the compound because, they still want to plot the attack, while some, came back to the village. So it's like only 10% of the Uchihas stayed at the compound to start the revenge, and the rest of them, like the 40% of the Uchihas went back to the Leaf. So yeah, now this is where Naruto is basically training Sasuke and stuff, and basically getting him strong. I guess we get to the part where, oh well, I should probably tell you that Fukaku is Hokage, but Itachi did do the same thing. Well, no, Obito massacred the Uchiha clan, but he only massacred the Uchiha clan who's in the compound, and he disappeared. This is where Itachi basically took the blame because he saw the person who did it, but he didn't. But the Uchihas, they was outraged of who killed their clan, killed half of the clan. So Itachi took the blame for now and became a spy for the Akatsuki. So Sasuke thinks it's Itachi, so he's still going to be the emo, but less emo because Naruto basically is wise and he told him not to be like, an emo kid, and basically, try to confront his brother and ask him why he did it instead of trying to kill him. So Sasuke will be a little emo, but Sasuke is more going for the approach of take defeating his brother and asking him why he did it instead of killing him. So yeah. But anyways, let's go back to the story. Pretty much just where Naruto is basically in the academy, and he's the top of everything, ahead of everything. He has all chakra natures. He has all Kinkai. He basically has everything, and he has his own Kinkai that he created himself. Now, this is where Naruto is basically, doing the test, and he passes with ease and stuff. Now, this is where Naruto is going back home and stuff. And this is where, well, we're gonna say Miski plans his attack again, and basically, um, how can I say this? Yeah, this is where he basically does the approach and basically lies to Naruto again as original canon. But he basically says that he felt the test, which Naruto could tell, which Naruto knows he's lying off his ass, but he goes with it so he could just see why he's doing it. Well, I'm gonna say Naruto can see the future and he knows what he's doing it for, but he wants to confront him and possibly make him stop trying to go rogue and stuff. Because I'm gonna say Naruto is a pacifist type, and he only kills when it's necessary. So he's not like no crazy person who he takes options. He's a person who takes options. But this is where pretty much Naruto agrees, and because he's acting like he doesn't want to fear, showing a concerned face and stuff, and he basically goes to the Hokage house. Now, I mean to the Hokage office. Now, as he's going to Hokage office, this is where Fugaku appears with the Sharingan eyes, with his three Tommy Sharingan eyes, to say, "Naruto, what do you think you're doing?" Which Naruto turns around with his, which he turns around with his glowing eyes, and Naruto could have the Sharingan, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He just has his own unique eyes, and he turns around with his glowing uh, you could say like glowing golden eyes, and he basically says, "Oh, nothing, Fugaku. I'm just basically trying to stop this traitor for betraying the Leaf Village." Which pretty much Fugaku looks at Naruto with those eyes, and he's a little bit sweating, and he deactivates his eyes and saying, "Ah, okay. So who is the traitor?" Which Naruto explains that is Mitsuki, and he wants to get the scroll to try to go to Orochimaru, which Fukaku knows about Orochimaru because he's not left out in that shit. And he basically says, "Huh." So he's trying to go to Orochimaru. You need some backup, which Naruto says, "No, I got this." And he basically, grabs the scroll, and Fukaku lets him because he knows Naruto's gonna take it back. Now, when Naruto touched the scroll, he basically learns all the jutsus. He doesn't even need to open it. He basically learns all the jutsus by touching it or just looking at it. So Naruto touched it and he learns all the jutsu. So he will learn the Motoshao Konjutsu as he can. Now, this is where Naruto's going and stuff, and he has a scroll in the back of his hand, taking his time and stuff, and he basically ends up in the forest as the original canon. Now, this is where Naruto has a scroll and basically waiting for him. Which this is where Naruto gets a glimpse in the future again. Well, basically a glimpse in the future. Well, yeah, and he sees that Aruka is about to die. Now, well, no, he doesn't get a glimpse in the future. I'm gonna make it special. This is where Naruto is basically waiting. Now, this is where Aruka comes in an unexpected time, and Naruto says, "Aruka, what are you doing here?" Which this is where Aruka says, "Oh, Naruto, I was just make sure looking around the remember what are you doing here?" Which this is where Naruto's saying, "Crap, this might be bad." Now, this is where Naruto's about to tell Aruka Sensei that he has a scroll. He's about, basically about to, do something until Mitsuki comes in, and we're gonna say he has a bigger shuriken, and he hits Aruka right in the chest, which Aruka barely had time to dodge, and pretty much gets hit in the chest and dies. Now, this is where Naruto, runs to him and says, "Aruka Sensei," basically, trying to make sure he's alright. And Mitsuki is laughing, basically just licking making a weird lick and saying, "He should not came. Now you're gonna die too." Which this is where Naruto gets up and he gets pissed off, basically saying, "Was that really necessary for you to kill him? He did nothing wrong. He just came here at the wrong time, right? Like wrong time." Which Mitsuki's saying, "What are you talking about, you brat?" Which this is where Naruto starts to have his eyes glow into a golden glare, and he looks at Mitsuki. Now Mitsuki is terrified because he sees his fate of how he's going to die, and he's going to die by a bright, you could say, just basically by like 100 holy swords going down at him. Now, this is where Mitsuki basically is peeing his pants, and he's trying to get out, but he can't. This is where Naruto basically lifts up his hand and he says, "Heavenly wrath." holy swords. And basically, all the swords, and we're going to say a person is, taking out the trash. And as he's looking up, he says, "What the hell is that?" And basically, it's like a big cloud where it's a holy light coming down, beaming down, and swords just start flying down. Which Fugaku sees this outside his window. He's like, "What the hell is that?" And basically, the swords start hitting Mitsuki. And Mitsuki is screaming in agonizing pain because the swords are like energetic and holy. And if you have any dark in your heart, that shit will as hurt just hurt as just as bad as how can I say how bad will it hurt? Imagine imagine how can I put it as a good example? Imagine getting your nuts stumped by a roller. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine getting your nuts actually no, imagine getting your nuts rolled over by a roller. That's how bad it feels. That's how bad he's feeling it right now. I don't know how other example I could put it at, but that's how I want to put it as. Now, this is where Mitsuki is screaming in agonizing pain and stuff, and Naruto is basically sees what he does, and he immediately stops, and Mitsuki's down on the ground, basically, dead. Now, Naruto goes to Iruka, and he basically touches him and brings him back to life and heals him. Now, as he heals him, this is where Iruka says, "Ugh," and he's breathing, which Iruka, he was in heaven, you could say, as he was looking around and trying to see where he was at, which he saw his mom and dad, and they came up to him and hugged him and stuff. Which he wakes up and he realizes he's alive again, which Naruto says he's sorry, explains the whole ordeal and stuff. This is where Naruto goes to Mitsuki and he basically heals him back up to life. And he's basically about to say sorry to Mitsuki until Mitsuki starts screaming in agonizing pain and say, stop the swords and stuff, and just basically foaming and pass out. And he goes into a coma. That yeah, he basically goes into a coma. Now Naruto passes as original, and he basically we're just gonna go of him heading back home. Now this is where Naruto is basically heading back home and stuff, and Minato is basically at home, and he asks, "Well, no, this is Minato is out on a mission, doing a mission. This is where Naruto heads back home, where his mom Kushina says, "Oh, hey, honey, how was your day?" Which Naruto says, "Oh, it was good." Which Naruto heads to his house, well, heads to his room. This is where, as he heads to the room, this is where how can I say a younger version as Yagia, Yagida, Yagia. I forgot her name. How do I forget her name? Yagida. And basically, she's basically like in the room. This, this in the room, this sitting and reading. Which Naruto goes in his bed and just thinks, while she pretty much just continue her reading because why not? Now, the next day, this is where Naruto basically is heading to the academy, and he sees everything. He sees all the possibilities of what team he could possibly be and stuff, and what outcome that they all had and stuff. And he's basically just sitting there. Now, this is where Team 7 gets to form again, and everything goes the same, including Team 7 as Sasuke, Trash Bag, and Naruto. Now, I know what you're thinking. Trash Bag? I don't remember a Trash Bag being on the team. I mean, sorry, Useless. There we go. Is on the team. Now, this is where Naruto is basically, waiting for Kakashi. Now, as they're waiting for Kakashi, this is where Naruto is talking to Sakura and asking her, does she wish to not be useless? Which Sasuke knows what Naruto's talking about, and he's shocked that Naruto he had the balls to say it in her face. Which this is where Sakura gets mad and says, "Did you just call me useless?" And goes for a punch at Naruto's face. This is where Naruto catches it. It says, "You see, Sakura, you're so useless that I catch your fist. Do you want me to help you or not?" Which this is where Sakura, she's looking down and she says yes. Now, this is where Naruto touches Sakura in the head, and she basically gets her whole brain unlocked, and all her chakra, gets a mount. So she has full access. She has full chakra control, full 100% access in her brain. And yeah, now I know what you're thinking. Why are you making Sakura this powerful? Because, uh, do you want to have a useless Sakura? Do you want to have a useless Sakura on this video that doesn't do nothing and Sasuke and Naruto's doing something? No, let's have the three of them do something. Let's make this work. But pretty much, this is where Sakura, feels the power, and she feels tricked, and she pretty much collects her fist, and she builds up the chakra, and she punched down, punch the wall, pretty much creating a hole in the wall, which she says, wow, this is power, which Naruto basically hits her with that Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. He basically says it. Oh, remember, Sakura, with great power comes great responsibility. So please use that power very wisely and only for good. Which basically Sakura agrees, and she basically hugs Naruto and thanks him. Which Sasuke, he's impressed, and also he wants to get a boost. Which he goes to Naruto and asks Naruto for a boost. Which Naruto taps Sasuke's head, and Sasuke says, "What did you do?" Which Naruto says, "Oh, you'll see in due time." Which Naruto basically gave him a boost, but I'm not going to tell y'all. Y'all going to see due in time. Now, this is where Kakashi comes in and says he's sorry he's late, which Naruto basically saw his future and saw that he was basically visiting his comrade's grave, which this is where Naruto looks down and says out loud, and he was supposed to hold it. He says, he's not dead, which Kakashi looks up and says, who's not dead? Obito, he's not dead. He's the one who attacked my mom and dad at that night when I was being birthed, which Kakashi is shocked and says, you mean Obito Uchiha? Which Naruto immediately stops and says, what I was talking about. Let's just continue, which Kakashi immediately, gets the eyebrow, lifts up one eyebrow saying, no one doesn't know about that name except for you. Which he lets it go, but he's going to ask Naruto later. Now, this is where everything else is the same. Naruto, Sasuke, his goal is really to, to capture someone, which Kakashi knows it's his brother, to pretty much capture him and to see why he did it. Now, Naruto, Sakura is the same, but her is more like, that son of someone, but she can actually achieve it because, she's strong. Now, we're going to go with Naruto. Now, Naruto is pretty much a little bit different, as his goals is different, as he likes to train he likes to train Sasuke, he likes to eat, some ramen, because that ramen is smacking, but he wants to, explore the world, discover new things, see what's new, see what's not new, see what's, cool and not cool, because, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to become Hokage, he doesn't want to do that, he just wants to, do all that stuff. Now I know what y'all guys thinking. Naruto doesn't want to become Hokage? That doesn't sound him. Now, how many times I told y'all? This is Naruto basically being a god. Well, being God. You could say might think of what if he was God. So, basically, he just wants to explore the world. See what's new. See what, his creations did and stuff. So, yeah. Basically, this is where Kakashi says, okay. And basically Kakashi does the same thing, and he says, come tomorrow at the bell test, and don't eat or you're going to puke, which everybody agrees, and they start going. Now this is part 1 of What If Naruto Was God. If you like, leave a like, do all that stuff. But I'm Keisha Uchiha. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.